Positive energy all the time. Here we go. Here we go. Friday night. Here I go on my stuff. Okay, rep your city. You know how we do. Rep your city. We got ATL in the building, the beautiful and gorgeous Mrs. Moore. Of course, I'm representing everybody on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. I am representing Chi-Town, aka Chicago, Illinois. We got the beautiful and gorgeous Arnell in the building representing New Orleans. We got Buffalo in the building. We got Greensboro in the building. Yes, indeed. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. We got Chicago in the house, representing the Rack, Chi-Town, the Windy City, whichever you prefer. Rep your city. Let them know you're here. Here we go. It's going to be a long night. I think I'm going to be going late. Got to get back to my early morning live streams, which is exercise and bodybuilding. At first, when I started working out, I wasn't bodybuilding. I was working out. So I work out. My recovery was like 2 days. Working hard, doing my live stream, doing my other businesses I'm running, sleeping, crazy, but I would still be able to get up and, at least get some morning lives, midday lives. Then I started pushing the heavy bodybuilding and working hard, so that's throwing me off. I wake up maybe 10:30, lay around. Next thing you know, I wake back up. It's 3:30. Kind of lay around a minute. I'm even around. I'm going to get up in about 30 minutes. Wake up at 6:30. I done fell asleep twice for 2 hours, 3 hours each. So now I found out, okay, at 68, my recovery is 4 days, not 2 days. So my recovery is 4 days. I had to do some research on that. So my exercise recovery at my age is 4 days. It takes 4 days for everything to finish doing what it's doing when I'm bodybuilding. For all the muscles to finish growing and everything, it's 4 days. So I got to do like upper body. I got to wait 4 days before I do more upper body. So I can wait 2 days and do lower body. I got to wait 4 days for that. And I was just working out whenever I felt like it. I wasn't waiting on no days. When I'm bored, I'm like, hit the weights, but I can't do that. So between hard work, up all night on the internet, working, talking sporadically, and working out, I got to try to get some type of balance. Make sure you go and subscribe to Vegan Intel. Let's get that health together, okay? Let's get this health together. This is not gonna get it. Let's get this health together. Go subscribe to Vegan Intel. And let's get this health together. This ain't making no sense. People passing away too early. So go subscribe to Vegan Intel ASAP. Let's get this health together. Plus, I need some more subscribers because I'm almost at I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. So go over there and subscribe. So yeah, go over there and do that. Hit the Patreon up too. So I'm going to talk some politics. Um, the political climate to me, it's a little weird, and it's probably my age. I'm 68. And so when I first really started checking out politics, I was probably about 19, 20. And the political climate to me is a little strange. I think the new younger generation, I don't like the way they have been brought into politics. To me, the younger generation has been manipulated when it comes to politics. When you look at politics, it don't make no sense. But they have brainwashed people and they have bought into this current state of politics. Let's just start there. I'll give you an example. When you look at the politics, when you look at the senators, the governors, the congressmen, and the federal government, they're from all over the country, right? There's all these different people from all over the country. And then some of them is Democrats and some of them is Republicans. But some kind of way, they got the younger generation saying Republicans is this and Democrats is that. So I'm trying to figure out how every Republican is the same and how every Democrat is the same. And what's up with saying the Republicans and the Democrats? That don't make much sense. So they got these two parties, and some kind of way they have sold these two parties or sold the country that this party's supposed to be this and this party's supposed to be that. And the people are going for that, which to me, it doesn't make much sense. So if you're a senator from Illinois and some of you all is Democrats and some of them Republican, what does that have to do with the state of Illinois or with the United States? What is a Democratic ideology and what is a Republican ideology? Because it seems to be crazy to even accept that this party is this and this party is that. Seems to be crazy. And so now once you get that concept, now the politicians that run, they running, right? You're basically creating it where when a Republican runs, he's going to run saying, I got to be this. And when a Democrat runs, a Democrat's running and got to be like, I got to be that. Now, two parties make sense because the more parties you get, it ain't going to make much difference. Because if you get three parties, what difference that going to make? That's just going to make more confusion. What do you need three parties for when two parties supposed to be able to do the job? The fact of the matter is that if you was going to change The best change would be no party. You just you running for Senate, what you want to do, and you running for Senate. So to be honest with you, they should get rid of the parties. Adding more parties just add more confusion. This one is about this and this one's about that and this one. Run for Senate. 2 senators running. Let's pick the best senator. Why one of them got to be this and the other one got to be that? Explain that to me. Like if you're running for a mayor in Chicago and I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, what the hell that got to do with Chicago? No matter who's running, Chicago needs certain things. And the things they need in Chicago, the things we need, we don't need Democratic stuff and we don't need Republican stuff. We need stuff done. And none of the stuff we need done is Democratic or Republican. Transportation, that's not Democratic. That's not Republican. Education, there's no such thing as a Democratic idea of education and a Republican idea of education. You're either going to put a better educational system together or you're not. What does Democrat and Republican have to do with good education? And what kind of country you got when this person is way over here when it comes to education and this party's way over there when it comes to education, but education needs the basic stuff that ain't got nothing to do with being over here or being over there. Show me where you got Democratic education ideas and Republican education ideas to the point where you're Democrat and you're Republican and you're not American. That's the problem with the party system. You're not Americans. You're not doing what's best for Americans. You're Democrats and you're Republicans. That's why they send me to Washington to ask some questions. Because when I ain't never paid no Democratic tax or no Republican tax, why that ain't Democrat and Republican? Why that's federal tax? Your check. What's FICA? Americans. What is FICA? Because that's who taking money out your check, FICA. And FICA is just FICA. It ain't never been Democrat or Republican. So what's up with the Democrat-Republican foolishness? Like seriously. Like if you got to fix the roads, how is there a Democratic way to fix the roads and a Republican way to fix the roads? If you need better schools, how the hell do you have a Democratic way to fix the schools and a Republican way to fix the schools? So, okay, I go out. The baluster is loose at my house. I got to put a nail in it because I got to fix the baluster so it don't keep wobbling. Do I go get a Democratic screw or a Republican screw to fix the baluster? Or do I just get a screw and tighten up the baluster? Make it make some sense. So now every time I come over here and talk about politics, I get weirdo young people. The Democrats is this, the Republicans is this. And I'm looking at you like you crazy because first, you accept that? You accept a divided government with a fake ideology that this one is this and this one is that? Why would you even accept some foolishness like that? Make that make some damn sense. Why would you accept? Why would you accept any foolishness when there's two parties and you got to decide which party going to do what got to be done? Because it's got to be done. So at what point you want to argue this and that, and then you create these parties with these weirdo ideologies that got nothing to do with your taxes, your housing costs, nothing. Got nothing to do with nothing. So you get these lunatics in there, this one Democrat, this one Republican. They can't work together, so they spend all their time trying to get somebody in power so they can tell everybody what to do, or get this one in power so they can do what to do. So every 2 years, we going back and forth trying to get something to do. And you said there's two wings of the same bird, but it's not. It's a half an eagle and a half a damn hawk. It ain't even a bird. Show me a bird that's a duck on one side and a chicken on the other side. There's no such bird. You can't have a bird and they don't got matching wings. Okay, so this bird got a big ass wing and this bird got a little ass wing. That ain't no bird. Just let that sink in. Because you say it's two wings of the same bird. They ain't the same. It's two different birds. Think about it. And they spend all their time fighting against each other who's going to be in control, and we get left out. We got to go every 2 years to see what them assholes is going to do. And because they got the major election, then they got the midterms, then the major, then the midterm, then the major, then the midterm, then the major, then the midterm. And the whole time we need stuff done, they're spending all their time running for office. They run for office and campaign for office more than they do anything. They don't do anything but argue with each other and run against each other for office. But nothing gets done. Nothing. Nothing gets done because by the time this one try to do something, it's time to it's time for the midterms. Oh, okay, he's in there, she's in there, they're in there. Okay, we try to do, it's time for the main elections. Oh, so it's time to campaign for the president. So right now, they worried about the midterms. As soon as the midterms is over, they're going to start talking about the presidential election. So when you going to work? When they going to work? When they going to work? If they go from campaign to campaign to campaign to campaign, from campaign to campaign, from campaign to campaign. When? Ain't nobody life got better under nothing. There's been some things fixed, like the auto industry was fixed under Obama administration, and certain things was helped, but typically, the whole anti-Obama thing was just race. There wasn't nothing wrong with him other than he was black. And then you got blacks that love self-hate, so they didn't like him because he was black too, right? You've seen how many black men that hated Obama and ain't said nothing about a white president in their life. According to some of these brothers, the white presidents is all perfect, and only the black dude wasn't no good. I just looking at dudes like you, bruh. Self-hate is just coming all out your vein. So he's the worst president ever. Okay. Right. I get it. I get it. So in the meantime, Americans' complaints get swept under the rug. A small percentage of Americans vote. It's like 350 million Americans. It's only like 200 million vote. Like a whole 150 million. Sometimes 200 million don't even vote. America, a lot of Americans is homeless and ain't got no address to vote. But you're talking about running for office while you got homeless people everywhere that can't vote because they ain't got no address. but yet you're going to be the greatest president ever, and you don't address the homeless situation or nothing. Show me one president that have fixed the homeless situation. Biden didn't fix it. Trump ain't fixing it. And the next one ain't going to fix it. Homeless people everywhere. Show me one president where cost of living went down, your wages went up. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. And so now they have totally brainwashed the young generation. I got to come over here and just fight brainwashing all day. They're like, the Dems. As soon as I see you see the Dems, I know you brainwashed. What the hell is the Dems? If you're saying the Dems ain't this, and you believe the Dems ain't that, and you ain't complain that there's such things as Dems and Republicans, you's a loser. Because how you allow your government to be Dems and Repubs? How you allow that? How you allow men that's supposed to go in there and do their job? How you allow one to be this and one to be that in the country that's this? It's America. How you get to be this and you get to be that and fix this? Because America's not this or that. America's this. Jobs, health, education, this. There's no Democratic education. There's no Republican education. There's no such thing as that. I've been getting bills all my life. I never got a Republican or a Democratic bill. I've never been to a Democratic Republican hospital. I never got a Democratic check or a Republican check in my life. When it's time to pay taxes, the Democrats, Republicans disappear, and now it's just the U.S. government. Y'all ain't noticed that? When it's time to take your tax money, y'all ever notice they not Dems and Republicans no more? Y'all ain't noticed that? Y'all ain't noticed when they take your money, they not Dems and Republicans. Y'all ain't noticed that your money pay all them assholes. All of them get paid together. All the Democrats and all the Republicans get your money that you work hard for together. Yeah, they united with your tax money. They all eating off, both sides is eating off of all the Americans. There is not no Democratic tax paying or no Republican tax paying. There's no Democratic housing costs or Republican housing costs. There's no Democratic rent, Republican rent. There's no Democratic food prices, Republican food prices. It's only Democrat and Republican when it's election time. But when you take your ass home, ain't nothing in your house Democrat or Republican. Nothing. Nothing. And when you got them two people in there, how could you argue and get something done? I just want to know. How can you debate between each other day after day and do something? Because it seems to me debating is you filibustering. Nothing gonna get done. The Democrats ain't doing this. Republicans ain't doing this. The Democrats ain't doing this. Republicans ain't doing this. And while you doing that, none of y'all, neither one of y'all doing nothing. All y'all doing is saying the other one ain't doing nothing. No, he ain't doing nothing. No, he ain't doing nothing. No, he ain't doing nothing. And while the two parties are saying nobody, this one ain't doing nothing, that one ain't doing nothing, neither one of them doing nothing. The only thing they doing is saying the other one ain't doing nothing. I repeat that. The only thing the politicians are doing is saying that the other one ain't doing nothing. That's what they do all day. All day, what they do is say the other one ain't doing nothing. That's what they do all day. They don't do nothing but say the other one ain't doing nothing. And nobody said, listen, we don't want to see y'all day after day talk about what the other one ain't doing. We want y'all to do something. What's up with that? And then they got you buying thinking you somebody. What's up with the government making you think you are part of the government? Yeah, I'm Republican. Right? But you don't get nothing for it. Yeah, I'm a Democrat. Okay, what do you get for being a Democrat? What have you gotten from being only people that get anything from being a Democrat and Republican is the politicians. The politicians are the only one that get anything from being representing a party. The people, you don't get nothing from representing a party. What you get? What you get? If I'm a Democrat, what do I get for that? Or if I'm a Republican, what do I actually get from the government from being a Republican? Nothing. What do they get? All kind of funding, all kind of lobbying, all kind of money from all type of companies for them to get in there and help these companies and don't help the people none. That's what they get. That's what they get for being senators and governors and congressmen and presidents and vice presidents. They get money. They do favors for big business. Don't do a damn thing for a regular working person. Who funds them? Who funds the Democratic politicians? Who funds the Republicans? I tell you, the same people fund both sides. Here I am, I'm the big company. I got minor companies. I got this minor companies and I got these minor companies. I have these minor companies back to Democrats and I have these minor companies back to Democrats. But the parent company owns all the companies that's helping both sides. Tell me I'm lying. The companies that give money to the Democrats and Republicans to run for office are owned by a parent company that owns all of them. So it's like you can go buy stocks and you can buy stocks in Colgate and you can buy stocks in Palmolive, but there's a parent company that make the toothpaste, the soap, and everything. So they win no matter who you buy from. They'll actually sell you stocks from the companies owned by another company. They'll have two different stocks. They'll have the company that's owned, and then they'll have the stocks from the parent company. Just like in the stock market. They have where you can go buy individual stocks, or you can go to a certain spot and you invested in every stock. You know, the game is to be sold, not told. I'm gonna have to pretty soon. I'm gonna have a membership, and so you're gonna have to sign up for my membership like next week if you want. And then I'll tell you everything. But I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You gotta pay to play. You know, I'm gonna have membership pretty soon, and I won't be talking in circles. I'll be giving out a lot of that information. I'll be doing interviews with bosses and shit like that when I get my membership lined up. Give me about another week or so, and you'll be able to get membership. And I won't be talking in riddles. I'll really tell you what's going on. But it's real frustrating because, you know what I'm saying? The party system is whack. It's just been going downhill, downhill, downhill. You're right. It wasn't this far downhill because they didn't have social media. So when they didn't have social media, they couldn't be as divided because you couldn't express your opinion. You couldn't express your opinion until MySpace. Facebook was all family stuff mostly. The first time when Americans got to start expressing opinions was MySpace. MySpace was the first time. You understand? But Americans got major complaints about the government and they never get addressed. They start finger pointing. It's like you come home and you're a parent and the living room's in shambles when your kid's been in there playing. And you got a daughter, you got a son, like me and my sister. You call them in there and say, what the hell? What happened in here? She, he. That was both of us. It was both of us. That's the government. It's both of them. It's both of them. It ain't no Democrat Republican. It's both of them. So now when you start pushing this extremism, when you put a president or somebody in there, they got this extremism mentality, so they're not really working for the country. They're working only for their party and their party's belief, which is unconstitutional. And so the sports generation have taken over politics. That's the sports generation. The Democrats is one team and the Republicans is another team. That's what that is. Especially men, because men today is weirdos over sports. And they've taken that messed up sport mentality and put it into politics. My team is Republicans. My team is the Democrats. I watch some of these black content creators that talk politics. I ain't going to say no names. But every time you watch them, they don't never talk about doing nothing. They only talk about what the party they don't like ain't doing. All their content is like, the Republicans is messing up black Americans. The Republicans, that's all. They never got no plans. They never talk about what black Americans should do on their own. Nothing. George Washington never agreed to the two-party system. I bet he didn't. The two-party system is a mess. You run it as an American. What the hell is a Republican? What the hell is a Democrat? One want to have slavery and the other one think it's no good, because that's basically. One was a lowlife that wanted to have slaves and the other one didn't. And then they flip-flop. And this party start acting like this and this party start acting like that. Everybody want to tell you, no, the Republicans used to be this, the Democrats used to be that. Bro, don't nobody give a damn what they used to be. It's 2026, man. We need stuff to get done. Is these losers going to get something done, or they going to spend every election and every year arguing? Because they just spent every year arguing. They never got no solutions for nothing. Their solution is vote for more people on our side so we can just put whatever we want in there. And the hell with what the rest of y'all want. How you a president and a bunch of people want this and a bunch of people want that, and you get people in there that's on this side, and you do everything for what these people want and nothing for what these people want, but you say you're the president of all of them. How you the president of everything when you pick a side to do something for that side? How? How does that make any sense? That you get a bunch of stuff Republicans say they want, and you give a bunch of stuff Democrats say they want, and you win as a Republican and you do for this side, but you say you're the president of the whole United States. And you never sit down and try to figure out how you can do something for both sides. And a lot of times then, this side, you get in there and don't do enough they want. They'd be like, next time we're not voting for you. We the farmers, we voted for you and you let us down. Next time we vote Democrat. That don't make no sense. If you're a president and you can't get in there and do something for everybody, sit your monkey ass down. Sit down. If you're a president and you want to get in there and your whole cabinet is one way and everybody you pick is one way, how are you the president of the United States when everybody you pick is one way? That's the Trump administration. That's one of the worst presidencies ever, because all they pick is everybody that got the same beliefs over here. When you got all these people over here and they like to hell with y'all. But he the president of still your president and you still got to pay them taxes. But he don't got to listen to nothing you want. But he can still take money out of my check? I'm just trying to figure this out. If the Trump administration and the Republicans in there now don't feel like they got to do certain things for certain people, how could they take our money? If the Democrats get in there and they just want to do something for this side, but they don't do nothing for this side, how could they take money from this side? How you taking money from everybody but pretending it's sides? Somebody answer that to me, because taxes ain't got no side. I challenge any white Republican or anybody to deal with that. When you pay your taxes, it ain't no side. Now all of a sudden it's the United States, united. You pay taxes to the united. You know what unity means? You know what united means? The country's called what? The United States, united. So you pay your taxes to the United States. And then once they take your taxes, they turn back to the divided states of America. Make that make some damn sense. Make it make some sense. A bunch of grown-ass men and women that can't sit down and work together. They're all in there hollering and screaming. They're all in there disrespecting each other, closing down the government because they don't agree with you, all type of shit. Like the Epstein files. The Epstein files got no business in the government. I'm going to repeat, the talk of the Epstein files has no place with senators and congressmen and all that. That's something the FBI is supposed to be talking about. There ain't nothing supposed to be political for no goddamn Democrats, no goddamn Republicans. Let the FBI handle that. That's an FBI situation. That's a people get arrested situation. That got nothing to do with no senator, no congressman. So how the Epstein file is mentioned when it comes to government, I don't know. Because the Americans is some suckers, there's some losers and suckers. I don't want to hear shit about the Epstein file. Arrest them or shut up. I don't want to pay $9 a gallon for gas and see you talking about the Epstein. Period. I don't want to see you talk about no criminal stuff. I want you to talk about where my tax dollars at. Jeffrey got my tax dollars, then let's talk. If Jeffrey get my tax money, let's talk. But if Jeffrey not getting our tax money, go do your damn job and go arrest whoever was involved in it. But when we don't want to hear that, we don't care. I speak for a lot of Americans. We don't give a damn about the Epstein files. That's something the government, law enforcement was supposed to handle that. So they said, well, so Pharaoh, what you think about the Epstein file? I think that everybody in the FBI that didn't do nothing should be fired and probably charged a fee, taxed. Just like if I get a traffic ticket, they should be ticketed. You was the FBI. He did all this shit. You didn't do your job. That's a fine. And you're fired. What the hell you want to keep talking about Epstein when the FBI let it happen? All right, what was the CIA and the FBI doing? Secret Service, what the hell do they do there? Why they do your damn job? What? So you want to blame the presidents? Oh, the Democrats is hiring the Epstein. Man, that's the FBI was supposed to take care of that. The FBI is not supposed to be Democrat or Republican. Is the FBI supposed to be a Democratic FBI or a Republican FBI? No. The police not supposed to be Democrat or Republican. They're the police. They're just supposed to do police stuff. You're not supposed to be a Republican police or a Democratic police. You're not supposed to have a Republican FBI or a Democratic FBI. It's the FBI. It's the police. So why is everybody talking about Epstein file and nobody talking about the FBI didn't do their damn job? Why we got to hear that? We don't give a damn. Lower our property taxes. Lower these gas prices. Make it cheaper for us to go on vacation. Raise our wages. I don't give a damn about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't care. That's the police should have did their job. Don't put what the police didn't do on American citizens. If he did all that, how much should we pay the FBI while he got away with all that? Because that sounds like some FBI people didn't do their job. That's what it sounded to me. If he did all that, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations didn't know, what that tell you about the FBI? How they didn't know and how they didn't do their job. And the CIA. That's their business. That's got nothing to do with the American public. Why y'all keep telling the American public about the Epstein file? I'm the only one got the balls, so I don't give a damn about what Jeffrey Epstein did. You should have arrested him. Many of us don't even believe he's unalive. All of a sudden the cameras go off and then he's unalive, but there's no proof he's unalive or nothing. There's no cameras showing he's unalive, nothing. The cameras just went off and then he's just unalive and he just gone. No funeral, no casket, nothing. Where's he buried at? When was the funeral? Where's the autopsy? So we finna pay $10 a gallon for gas because of the war, and turn on your internet TV and hear Jeffrey Epstein and hear a bunch of people argue. Ain't nobody arguing when you're going to pay them this gas. When you go pay this gas, who argue? When you go buy your gas soon, it says $10 a gallon. Is that a Republican $10 or a Democrat $10? Because know that the government is still taxing them gas stations regardless. And them gas stations, no matter what gas is, they better pay their taxes. So the federal government gonna get their money regardless. I'm just saying. Regardless if gas is $20 a gallon, they gotta pay the feds. The feds still get paid. And I would imagine the more gas is, the more taxes they're gonna pay the federal government. So I don't know how the federal government gonna lose when they gonna get more tax dollars. But hey, you ain't hear from me. So I'm trying to figure out why a bunch of Americans that's all paying FICA is arguing between each other over some stupid shit, but we all still paying the same taxes. We all still paying the same food prices. We all still paying the same rent, the same mortgage, everything. So show me your Democratic check from your job. Show me if you work at a company, two men, and one's a Democrat and one's a Republican, show me your Republican check and you show me your Democratic check. Because I bet y'all got the same check. When your rent is due, when your mortgage is due, when your light bill is due, show me your Democratic light bill and show me your Republican light bill. Because I ain't never got a Republican or a Democratic bill in my life. I never got, and every time they take money out of my check, it say FICA. They ain't never took no Republican money or Democrat money. I paid all them assholes. Every tax I pay, every time I buy a piece of bubble gum, I'm paying all them assholes. I'm paying state tax and federal tax to them constantly. Never a Republican tax or a Democratic tax. I can't find no Republican Whole Foods or no Democratic Whole Foods. Every time I go to Whole Foods, it's just Whole Foods all of a sudden. It ain't Democrat and Republican. Because the Democrats claim they can make it pop. So where's the Democratic Whole Foods? I need to go to that one. I don't want to go to the Republican one. If the Republicans is for the rich and the Democrats is for the regular people. Where's the Democratic gas stations, the Democratic stores, the Democratic hospitals? And how do we know when the cameras turn off that all them people in the Congress and the Senate ain't in there yucking and laughing and good buddies? And then when the cameras come on, they make the Americans think they fighting against each other because they look like friends to me. When I watch Democrats and Republicans in there doing them fake arguments, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like a bunch of uppity people that's living off the backs of Americans pretending that they doing this or that, but they all living much better than the average American. It's always this Democrat in there like he for the people, but he making the same money the Republican is making. And neither one of them ain't doing shit but pretending they beefing. Yet we at home, we see nothing from the beef. We see no benefits from them beefing. Have you seen any benefits from Republican politicians and Democrat politicians beefing? Tell me what benefits you got from it beefing, because I ain't never got nothing from them beef. To the point where people talk about Obama and he wasn't even the last Democratic president. That just show he ain't even the last Democratic president. That just show you. They skip over Biden. Y'all ain't never noticed they skip over Biden. They still bringing up Obama. But they skip over Biden. Y'all ain't noticed that? That's some racial hate right there. They like to bring up dude because he's black. Even black people. A lot of black men, they want to prove the black man ain't shit either. So a lot of black men got self-hate anyway. You know what I'm saying? I try to ignore them. Because they ain't going to bring up nobody but the black one. That's a whole nother story for another day. They love it. It's amazing how many black men love trashing Obama. It's crazy. They love it. That's a whole nother video why we can't go nowhere or get nothing done. Because the black man's a bitch. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, you black, and a lot of black people is racial. And in the hood, the black man hates the black man. Yes, the black man is a racist towards black people. Yes. Yes. The black man in the hood will attack. Listen, the black man in the hood, tell me I'm lying. The black man in the hood will attack black people walking through the hood, but not white ones. That's a fact. That's a fact. Who used the N-word the most? Whites or blacks? Black men. Black men. Am I lying? Who hates blacks the most? Whites or blacks? Blacks. I know you was responding. I'm not trying to pick you out. But that response is related to other response. You see what I'm saying? So your response is related to other responses. You see what I'm trying to say? See, I do live streams. So I get stuff all the time. So I'm telling you what I get over here all the time. So let me ask you something. Do I get a large amount of Obama hate from black people? Just answer yes or no. Do you think I get a large amount? I'm just asking you. Just say yes or no. Do you think I see him thrown in conversations all the time? Do you think I'm talking about politicians? It could be like right now, right? Do you think people bring him up years after he's been out of office? What you think? Like years? Years when Biden was president and falling asleep and falling down, who you think black men constantly brought up? They constantly brought dude up. So that's why I said that. It ain't had nothing to do with you. But this is what I see all the time. I'm telling you what I see all the time. And in the hood and in the street too. The biggest enemy of the black man is the black man. That's a whole nother life. Anybody tell you that? I live in Chicago. I'm most in danger from black men. That's a fact. The person most likely to hurt me, most likely to shoot me, most likely to break in my home, most likely to do something to my women, most likely to do something to my children is a black man. That's an absolute fact. The black man is the biggest danger to the black community. That's a fact. Go to the county jail. Look right now. Look what you see. Go on the internet. The only thing you can see considering black men is Gucci versus dude in Memphis. That's the big story. That's the big story is black men. Tying up black men, unaliving black men, robbing black men, beefing with black men. That's a big story right now. I just was watching Dogface, and Dogface's whole thing was about black against black. Dogface's whole presentation. What's his name? Corey Holcomb against the black dude. Tell me I'm lying. What's the big stories in the black community? Corey Holcomb versus Daniels, right? Boom. Pooh Shiesty, Gucci. I can go on and on. It's about 5 to 10 stories, and they all black on black. When I go to Offset and the black dude, yep. Then the dude, Jay Prince Jr. and the young brother that got shot, yep. If you go, when I go, because I watch everything. So when I go and watch a lot of European and what's going on with whites is one thing. When I go watch what all the black content creators, it's all, hey, LBG, am I lying? If MBG is doing great, who gonna hate on you, bro? Bro, if you're doing great, who the quickest gonna hate on you? A white person or a black person? It's gonna be a black person gonna hate, bro. It's gonna be a black person, hey, bro. I love bro. I ain't gonna hate on bro like that. So that's the only reason I brought that up, because that's what we be on. So we totally is out of the whole political whole spectrum. We on some. I got some dudes I had to block. I kept blocking them. And every time I went live, they just come over here just to hate on me. I know they black. They go out their way to come, and I don't know why. I don't know why. If there's a big function in Chicago, like some kind of festival, and it's a mostly white festival I go, it's going to be nice, relax, and have a good time. If it's a big black festival, unless there's an age limit, it's going to be a problem. So in the black community, when we go to stuff, everybody there got to be like 35 and up. maybe even 40 and up. Because if there's any like younger black men, they're gonna mess the whole event up. I'll talk about that one day too. And cities like Chicago, we have age events. And we have events where a lot of blacks don't go if it's a younger age gonna be there. We don't really mess with black men 40 and under. We don't mess with them. We don't want to be around them. They ruin everything. They're violent, and they practice self-hate. They're from the new self-hate generation. They're not from our generation. We don't do that. They from the IFYB generation. It's the younger black men. They don't want a woman. They want your woman. They want to sleep behind you. They think it's they think it's cool too. They think it's cool. The younger black man. They want to sleep behind you. You could break up with a woman and they'll sleep her and they'll say they sleeping with your B, but you ain't even with her no more. But they'll brag. You could divorce a woman and a brother start talking to her and he'll swear he's sleeping with your woman and y'all ain't even together. And it's like some kind of weird trophy. Something crazy. But that's our community right there. So and you say, what does that got to do with this conversation? That's why we're not in a position to be politically active. Right now, in the black community, like cities like Chicago, Atlanta, the leaders of our political movements is like 75% black women. Black women are the only ones got their man on the political system and the city situations and state and government situations. You think I'm lying? Go watch Roland Martin. Roland Martin do a good job finding brothers, but Roland will tell you it'd be much easier for him to find women. He got a bunch of women that come over there and talk politics. Because the women is focused on what got to go on. The men, the black man is always in competing with his brother. So it's hard to get the black man to compete against somebody else because his main focus is competing against another brother. And I'll talk about that one night too. So that slows us down with business. Everything is slowed down for us because it's a competition. You can't get nothing done. You can't get nothing done with the black man. He's a competitive. It's weird. But back to this political situation, what Americans want and what Americans are complaining about is being totally overlooked. But here's a picture that proves how blacks don't stick together and whites do. This sums it all up right here. Now you'll see people hate on Obama all day, Democrats. But Democrats don't see this. How many black men that support the Democratic Party would say something about this though? Nobody. I think I'm the only one been pulling this up. It's on that. And look at the guy sitting there clapping. He clapping for unity amongst their people. The dude sitting that's clapping, that's what he's clapping for. He's clapping for unity with them. For them to still stay unified and sell that division to everybody else. He's saying, we don't really got no division. Y'all believe it's division, but it's not. Biden is saying, do not vote for Harris. Vote for Trump. That's what he just said. Vote for Trump. Me and Trump is the same. That's what DJ said. That's what that was. So Americans got a lot of complaints, but everybody's overlooking it. Americans primarily complain about economic pressure, specifically high inflation, the cost of living, and healthcare affordability. Beyond finances, major concerns focus on government corruption, political division, illegal immigration, and the deteriorating ability of political parties to work together. This is what white Americans are complaining about. And most Americans primarily complain about economic pressures, specifically high inflation, the cost of living, and healthcare affordability. Beyond finances, major concerns focus on government corruption, political division, illegal immigration, and the deteriorating ability of political parties to work together. Other frequent complaints include the difficulty of achieving the American dream, road construction, top economic and social concerns, inflation and cost of living. Roughly 62% of Americans cite inflation as a major problem, with high food, housing, and consumer good prices being primary drivers. Healthcare costs. A high percentage of Americans, 61 to 71%, are deeply concerned about the expense of healthcare and medical services. People can't even go to the dentist. Oh my soul. Their teeth just got to rot. Government and politics. Roughly 54% are very worried about government corruption, while the role of money in politics is viewed as a major problem. Social safety issues, illegal immigration, 51%, and crime, 26%, are significant areas of concern. We're going to go back and read this and break this down again. Look, government and politics. Roughly 54% are very worried about government corruption, while the role of money is viewed as a major problem. Social and safety issues, illegal immigration, 51% of people worried about that. And crime, 20%, are significant areas of concern. Common lifestyle and everyday complaints. Road construction, often cited as a necessary but frustrating, slow process. And guess what? That's tearing up your shocks, your wheels, tearing your car up, shaking your engine loose, shaking the parts loose in your car, making you spend money and aging your car quicker because the roads is shot. All the money is in their pocket to have private jets, mansions all over the country, go on lavish vacations, buy a lot of clothes, buy their wives a whole bunch of jewelry. That's all the money that's supposed to fix the roads and all that. It's in their pockets. Economic opportunity. Many believe it is harder for the middle class to get ahead compared to previous generations. Absolutely correct. We're going to go back over this, so I'm going to break it down. Technology and lifestyle. Complaints regarding excessive social media use, lack of human interaction, and social isolation. People can't hang out. But how could you hang out with the cost of living? How could you hang out when social media dividing you so you don't even like each other? People trolling, promoting hate, promoting separatism. How you gonna have a social life? Consumer complaints. Data on consumer issues frequently highlights auto sales and repair, along with issues regarding internet services and scams. Partisan differences and concerns. Republicans focus heavily on illegal immigration and inflation. Democrats focus more on money and politics, healthcare affordability, and climate change. And that's what I've been talking about. Both of them supposed to all be focusing on all of that. What do you mean Republicans focus on this and Democrats focus on that, but then they all taking the money from us and we focusing on both sides? That makes sense? We focusing on all that. We pay all the taxes. They take the taxes, and this side focus on just this, and that side just focus on that. But they took money from people that's focusing on all of that. That's not a problem. Man, listen. Let's take a break, and we're going to break this down. Now look, let's break this down. Now just let this sink in. Let's go back to the beginning and support the channel. Hit the like button. How many likes do I got? Where's my mods? How many likes I got? Because I don't be having enough likes. There's 85 people over here. I need to have at least 70 likes. What's going on? That's why my live streams ain't going out to the world. Because y'all stingy on the likes. Now look. Let's go to the breakdown. Inflation and the cost of living. Roughly 62% of Americans cite inflation as a major problem, with high food, housing, and consumer good prices being primary drivers. So let's start there. Now, inflation. Now, how can you keep having inflation with the wages not going up? How can the price of goods go up, but the amount of money you making don't go up? How could companies make more money but keep paying their workers the same amount of money? So in other words, if I work at a grocery store, if I work at Whole Foods, I get a certain salary. Now, Whole Foods prices go up, but my salary don't go up. Make that make some sense. Make it make some sense that your job start charging more for its services, but you don't get none of it. You know why? Because the American people are not getting their fair cut of the profits. You see, every company supposed to give the employees a cut of the profits. So if you're a company and you say that you made 90 million in profits that year, you was only supposed to make 45 million. The other 45 was supposed to get dispersed to the workers. So when I used to work back in the 70s, when you get a job, I work at WFR Printing Company, I get a job. Boom, when I start working, let's say I start working on September 16th. That next year on September 16th, I automatically get a raise, period. I don't have to ask for it or nothing. And every year until I retire, I get an automatic raise, which means the company know they're making more money. So as the company is going, the people that was there to help them make that money, you get more money. So they have a starting salary. So if I come in and I'm making 17, next year I might make 20, 21. You come in next year 21, you making 17. Why? You haven't earned no money for the company yet. And then after you work a year, you go up to 21. I go up to 24 or 25. So basically, and I'm just giving any number, but basically, whenever you come in, you get paid. And then as they make money, your money increase. So if I come to the job, what I'm getting paid, if you've been there 10 years, you're making way more than me because you're getting your increase for every year. That increase from every year is based on how much money you help this company make money every year. So they are paying you for your contribution to the company because without you, the company's not working. So they're splitting up the profits. You're getting some of the profits. They're acknowledging that you're the reason they're making more money. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that. And so that meant that that meant my daddy could start working for CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority. He could start working for them. And by the time he retired, he's making a fortune. He's making the same amount of money doctors and nurses is making. My daddy, by the time I got like in sixth grade, seventh grade, my daddy used to be telling us, they used to be laughing at me. Nurses would get on the bus and laugh and looking down on me because I was a bus driver. But them same nurses, I'm making more money than them now. Why? Because you got paid on what they used to call seniority. You don't hear that word no more. You have seniority. And they pay you every year. So when I started working at the book factory, the OGs that was working there that was in their 40, 45, 47, 50, they was making bank. Why? They've been working there 20 years, 25 years. They're making a lot of money. Yes. And the factory work and that type of work was better jobs. I'm glad you said it, because the first people to start cheating Americans was corporate. What I mean, corporate job, desk jobs. So when I left the factory and went and worked for the stock exchange, they wasn't paying me nothing. Once I went downtown, got the suit on, no longer working in the factory, after you work for a year, You got to basically request a raise. And then when they give you a raise, it's based on discretion. It's not based on how long you work there. And then they don't give you, in corporate, they don't give you a raise like you make, if you're making $7 an hour, now you're making $8.50. They don't do that. They say you making this much more a year. So they cheat you. So you look at your raise and they give you a yearly raise. Then when you go home and do the math, they didn't give you nothing. When you divide it, it's very little an hour more. So this is how they would cheat in corporate. It was so bad, I left that and went back to the factory. I said, no, no. I went back to the factory because working in corporate, they was cheating you. You have to get so far up before they start offering you certain money, but certain position. But as a beginner at the company, if you don't got a trained skill, this is how they started cheating us with college. College was a ripoff because now you can go to college and get a trained skill and make more money. But you're really making more money for something that an employee could have learned right at the job. So they started getting rid of on-the-job training, telling you got to go to college to get the position. And what was phony about that is even when you went to college to have the education to get the higher position and you go to the job, guess what they got to do? They still got to do on-the-job training because the college don't teach you what you need to do at the company. If you work at Payne Weber and your girlfriend work at Merrill Lynch and y'all got the same position, they do not both use the same process at these positions. This one do it this way and this one do it that way. And you still got to learn how that company does it. So you really don't need to go to college. You only need to go to college for stuff like dentist, surgeon, doctor, things like that. You don't need to go to college for none of these jobs, none of these pushing paper jobs, or none of that. Now, if it includes a lot of numbers, where you got to do a lot of add and subtract and multiply, you might have to go to school to be good with math. You might have to go to a junior college or something to really know the higher levels of math, not the basic algebra. You might got to learn the next level of algebra and geometry. You might have to do that because that ain't nothing you can't just be good at math. You can't just be good at dividing fractions and all that. I give them that. You will have to train for that. But there's very few jobs in corporate where you need to go to college. You only really need to go for high levels of math, basically. Basically. There's nothing else there that takes specific training. Now, if you're doing something where there's a bunch of chemicals and stuff like that, you will have to go to college. But other than that, most of these jobs that they want you to come out of college for, you don't need no college education. You can learn on the job training. And that creates racial discrimination because now if you can keep a certain race a little poorer, they can't afford to go to college. If the white Americans get more opportunity, their kids could go to college. So it's a form of racism because now if you hiring them based on college, you hiring them based on who had the most opportunity. And through racism, you could discriminate to make sure one race got more opportunity than the other race. So they're able to come out and get the high positions and you not. So college is a lot of times used for economical racism or economical discrimination. Basically, you need the economics to have the paperwork degree so that you could get the job, although the degree ain't got nothing to do with the job. There's nothing in your degree that has nothing to do with your actual job description, what you actually do at the job. It's discrimination. So that's what college, they use, that's all discrimination. They could discriminate against you economically and then make you have to reach certain economical goals to get certain achievements. But the actual achievement ain't got a damn thing to do with economics. That's why in America, everybody's stupid, because a lot of these people that's controlling your medical and all that, they got the degree, but they dummies. So now when you go, your doctor give you the wrong medicine and all that. Facts. Because right now, you can go to medical school to be a nurse, and there's people you could pay right here in Chicago to do all your tests for you. You don't got to know nothing. Facts. That's why you should subscribe, hit the like button, and watch me, because ain't nobody going to tell you this. Right now, they have a hustle of doing tests for nurses and doctors. That's a fact. I can go to nursing school right now and graduate and never do no homework. Pay her $25. She going to do all my, every time if I pay her $25, homework done. Next assignment, $25, done. $25, done. If I do business with her, I should say, I'll do this for you for 15, 10. Facts. You can pay to get out of nursing school. That is a fact. To the point where I can get people to disguise their voice and get nurses to tell you that. Facts. I know nurses that'll come in and tell you that, because I know a nurse that was going to nursing school, and her friend seen her studying and said, "Girl, why you stuttering? You call my friend, she'll do that for you." On everything. On everything. I know a sister, she was going to nursing school, and her friend seen her doing her homework. Her friend went to nursing school and said, "Just call my friend. They'll do all that. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that homework." That's right. That's a hustle. There's people do your homework for you in college right now. Right now, there's people that do all your assignments, all your homework. You can pay. You can pay right now to graduate out of university. Right now, today, you can pay and get your degree. You don't got to know nothing. Today. So, other frequent complaints include difficulty of achieving the American dream. I'm trying to tell him. He said, "Bro, I had a childhood friend that was a CNA promoted to a doctor at Vanderbilt Hospital. No additional training." Facts. Facts. He said, "Oh, the experience." This is facts. You could pay. Inflation and cost of living. Roughly 62% of Americans cite inflation as a major problem, with high food, housing, and consumer goods pricing being primary drivers. Now, this is where foundational Black Americans, the lack of unity and the lack of being able to live together, hurts us. Inflation. One of the reasons foundational Black Americans is behind or getting behind is because our lack especially the black man and the woman, our lack of being easy to get along with, our need to be aggressive, our need to find something wrong with the other person. That is holding us back. Our need to do it by ourselves is destroying us. That's what's holding us back. I lived in a place in California. I lived here. There was a house over there. The house over there, they had a van. And there was some Mexicans lived in this house. It looked like it was like a 4-bedroom house. And it was 4 families lived in a 4-bedroom house, right? On everything. And they had a van. And in the morning, all the Mexican men there would get in that van, and that van would leave every morning, every 5 days a week. 4 families, a lot of people in there. After so many months, I seen the pickup truck and the van. Well, one of them had bought a pickup truck. The one that bought the pickup truck, now in the morning when they leave, it's less in the van and it's 2 in the pickup truck. Yeah. The next thing I seen, a moving truck, and 2 of the families moved. So it's only 2 families there. It's 2 families in another place. Facts. The next thing I seen was a newer pickup truck. So you got the van and a newer pickup truck at this place, and I'm imagining 2 vehicles at the other place. Right? Hold on a second. Let me get rid of these. It's a lot of trolls on Kick. And let me get rid of the troll. Because I got other people watching me on Trick. I don't want to get on a Kick. I don't want to get rid of them just because it's full of trolls. So I just want to get rid of the trolls, let the other people enjoy. Right? So the next thing I know, it's a newer truck and the original van at that place. Then the next thing I know, a few months later, the other family moved. So that means to me, they went from 4 families in a building to the 4 families having 4 places to live on their own. The next thing I know is the original dude with the van, he got an almost new pickup truck, a big one. So, yeah, the van gone. He got almost a new pickup truck. Why? Because they know how to live together, stay out of each other's way, and to focus on the bag. They don't put nothing before the goal of the money, the housing. They put that first. The goal, they willing to do whatever for the goal. This is what it's hard to get foundational Black Americans to do that. Right? And so the foundational Black American man, he'll be making some money. He'll have a place. He'll be making some money. He'll have some clothes, look decent, kind of decent car. not the super best car, decent car. He'll save up a little money, and the first thing he'll do is try to get a more better car. And when he go get a more better car, he get the more better car, but he still be at the same spot. So even though he saved up money to get the better car, he's still at the same spot, just a little bit more money than paycheck to paycheck. He won't sit still, stay in that car, really stack that bread to the point where when he get the second car, he can buy it cash, which he gonna get it what? Cheaper. He not gonna have no interest on the payments, right? And he won't necessarily get it new, right? So instead of going right now and me buying a 2027 that's finna come out, I'll sit still, wait till the 2027 come out, and go grab me a 2026 that they're gonna be trying to give away because ain't nobody want it. And just pay cash. I got no note. But I'm willing to just keep driving the car I got to just jump up to the next level. I'm not interested in impressing somebody. And if I feel like I ain't to the level where I can get to 2026, when the 2027 come out, if the 2026 is going to knock my savings down too much to back like I'm back a year ago in my savings, I'll wait. And as long as this car runs, I'll bite the bullet and I'll just keep driving this car. And if I'm single, if that means I can't go out, I can't stunt for a female, I can't do this now, I just won't do it. I'll go on this fast, this economic fast for the goal, to meet my goal. Because I might got 50,000 I saved. I can go right now and get them 18,000 and get this truck, knock myself down to 30. But I can keep the same car I got and go up to 70, 80,000. So do I want to go from 50 to 30, or do I want to go to 50 to 70 or 80? Now I can get this car and go from 50 to 30, or I could keep driving the car I got and go to 80. So now it's a point, do I want to look better with less money, or do I want to look the same with more money? That's the ultimate hustler. And we don't got that. We don't look, we day to day. That's what hurts Foundation of Black Americans. Healthcare. A high percentage of Americans, 61 to 71%, are deeply concerned about the expense of healthcare and medical services. Right, because healthcare and medical services wipe your money out. And even if you got a good job that's got health insurance, what a lot of people don't know, it don't pay everything. You got to pay a deductible. And the deductible gets crazy, but they don't tell you that part. They make you think, oh, you got health insurance. No, you don't. That health insurance is limited. I don't care where you work for. My mother worked for the United States government many years, and when she got cancer, that health insurance was barely covering anything. Barely covering anything. So this gets into what I be trying to teach people when they say health is wealth. The more money you invest in your health, the more money you make. But they never look at eating right as making money. See, I'm a plant-based vegan, If I'm not healthy, I can't make no money. You make your money based on how long you could work. If you get sick in your 40s, that gonna mess your money up. If you get sick in your 50s, that gonna mess your money up. If you get sick in your 60s, that gonna mess your money up. A lot of the money you work for, you just threw it away because you didn't take care of yourself. Now you got this high expensive for these cancer pills. You got this high expense for this. You can't put in the hours to stack no money. And everything you work for, the health industry gonna eat it up. Yeah, the dentist gonna cost you. The hospital gonna cost you. The surgeon's that's gonna cost you. And you're gonna find out that your health insurance robbed you. That when it's time to pay, all of a sudden they're like, no. Car insurance is the same way. I had car insurance with State Farm from a kid, but it was under my daddy's policy. As soon as I got 18, I got my own auto insurance. I had auto insurance with State Farm from 18. And I was like, so now I'm like 38. That's like 20 years. I take my car and go to a festival. Somebody steal my Cadillac. Do you know State Farm canceled my policy? And I had never used them for accident or nothing. Do you know they collected all that money? And when it was time to pay for my stolen car, they dropped me. Now, if you don't got a lot of money, if I had a lot of money, because I had money, but I didn't think about no enough money to go and get a lawyer and sue him, because I should have sued him. A black man had insurance for 40 years. He had one accident and they dropped him. Yep. They dropped me. Totally illegal. That's why that guy went and shot that medical insurance, them people with the medical insurance, robbing his family. That's why he went crazy. I ain't saying it was right he did that, but that's why he went crazy, because they be robbing people. You buying medical insurance, they taking your money and they buying homes, they going on vacation. They using your money to live real good. They're not using your money to insure you. They're just taking your money so they can live right and so they can live rich. That medical insurance is not for you. It's for the people at the insurance company to get rich. They don't give a damn about you. They're taking all your money. So healthcare. The next thing, government and politics. Roughly 54% are very worried about government corruption, while the role of money in politics is viewed as a major problem. That's the next issue. You're putting politicians in there, but politicians is in there always collecting millions and trillions and billions of dollars from special interest groups. So all this money is going to these special interest groups because they're charging a whole lot of money to run for office. So in order for you to run for office, you got to run commercials, CBS, ABC, NBC. These commercials is costing multi-millions of dollars for you to win a political office. So for you to get in office to help us, you got to pay ABC, CBS, NBC millions and millions of dollars to run commercials for you to win, for you to help us. So you're getting all these campaign contributions from companies. Now you're asking for our votes, but we're just voting, and these companies paid for you to win. So who's your loyalty going to be with? The people that voted, or the people that got you on the ballot and the people that put up the money for you to win? So when these politicians get in there, their loyalty is to their backers. They have no loyalty to American citizens whatsoever. So when you see Trump sign something and you see all those men standing around him, that's who his loyalty is to. Whether it's a Democrat or Republican, all their loyalty is for whoever paid for those commercials for them to run for office. That's a fact. That's who they work for. They work for whoever paid for those commercials. Period. So when you see Trump in there changing people in the news, getting new people to run the news, that's so when the next Republican wins, they already own the news, which means they'll have to pay less for their campaigns. Their campaigns will be cheaper because the Republicans are own the news, which means they're going to get more publicity. Because the news used to be they only had Fox. The only people they had was Fox. And the only people the Democrats had was CNN. Fox was Republican. CNN was Democrat. The rest of them was just news. And slowly, their Democrats end up getting CNBC and all that. The Democrats was the first one to start buying out the news. It wasn't the Republicans, it was the Democrats. So the Republicans only had Fox, and all the other news was Democratic. Facts. But the companies that's paying for Fox and the companies that's paying for NBC, CBS, and CNN, they're owned by a parent company. So both companies are owned by a parent. All those companies is owned by somebody else. There is no difference between Fox and CNN. When you go all the way up the line, there's parent companies that own all of that. Facts. So the people at the very top can never lose. Never. The people at the top never lose because the parent companies control all sides. These are facts. So no matter what happens, they win. And no matter what happens, all they got to do is sit it out and then put the other person in there. That's it. All they got to do is sit it out. That's it. They can stall you out. Facts. They can totally stall you out. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do or what you think. At the end of the day, it's one person. They run everything. They win no matter what. No matter what, they win. Point blank, period. You go this way, you go to them. You go that way, you go to them. And the whole time, they have you thinking that you went in a different direction. And this is why they don't promote anything really substantial or any type of real changes. It's a bunch of go against this side, go against that side. Well, it's the same side, okay? These 12 companies together own 550 plus consumer brands. And those 12 companies are owned by two companies. And those two companies is one company. Trust me what I'm telling you. They ain't gonna break that part down, but this is all you need to see. See all these companies on the outside? It's owned by these companies on the inside. And you see that circle in the middle? Oh, there's something going that circle in the middle that own these companies. And then there's a circle inside of that of whoever own all of that. So this circle in the middle with these different companies, these 12 companies is owned by two or four people. Two or four people own them 12 companies. And them two or four people all work for one company. Facts. And it's one company control the four that control the 12 that control the 550. That's a fact. And this is who puts whoever in office. These people right here. These are the ones fund all the commercials. Without them, you ain't got no commercials. You ain't got no commercials. What commercials you got? How you gonna run a commercial without them? They the ones on the TV. They the one own all the businesses that run on the commercial. They own that too. So imagine I give you money for your campaign, and you run your campaign on a TV station. And the TV station run the commercials, but I own the companies on the TV stations that run the commercials. I own you and the commercials. I own your commercial for the campaign, and I own the company that commercial run behind your campaign. So they run the campaign. Hi, I'm Pharaoh, and put me in office, and things are gonna be better. Then my commercial go off. Then McDonald's come on, or Jiffy Lube. The person that paid for my commercial also own Jiffy Lube, McDonald's, whatever commercial run after my, okay, whatever commercial run after my campaign advertisement, they own that too. So then you go and you see the other guy running. They own that, and they own all the commercials there that run behind the opposition. So no matter where you go, it all come back to us. So roughly 54% are very worried about government corruption, while the role of money and politics is viewed as a major problem. Right, because who got the gold makes the rule. Social and safety issues, illegal immigration, and crime are significant areas of concern. Immigration is a thing that stops certain minority groups from getting too powerful. If you start to get too powerful, those at the top bring in some new bottom feeders to throw everything off. So if you start working, you work on these farms, you work on these factories, and you want too much money, all of a sudden it'll be some people that'll come work for less. All of a sudden, you want more money to work, they'll do two things. They'll either let people in to work at the auto factory so they don't got to pay you, or they'll move the auto factory down there where the immigrants is at so they got to pay you. Same crap, different toilet. They'll either bring them in to pay them less or move the job down there to pay them. Look at all the auto industries left, went to Mexico, South America. Look how many American companies went overseas for cheap labor. So they'll either bring the cheap labor in or they'll go to the cheap labor. So they don't got to pay you. Anyway it goes, they not paying. They not paying you. And whoever you put in office don't give a damn. whoever you put in office. Government and politics, roughly 54% are very worried about government corruption, while the role of money in politics is major. So we went through all that. Let's go to common lifestyle and everyday complaints. Road construction, often cited as a necessary but frustrating, slow process. Now, road construction brings in money. You can't keep all the roads nice because then the cars last too long. They got to make sure your car brakes. They take these cars, and when they make your car, they put your car on a machine where it drives, where they can turn it on automatic and it can run at 65 miles an hour. It's on a machine that's clocking in how many miles it's going. And it can run for day and night. And I suspect that they put your car on a machine and they got a certain amount of miles. They want the brakes to go out. They got a certain amount of miles. They want this part to go out, that part to go out like that. So they'll put the car on the machine. They'll let it run so long. After it runs a certain length, they'll be like, this part ain't broke yet. Make this part where it breaks. So they'll take the part and make it a little weaker so it breaks. They'll run the car and they'll look to see when each part breaks. If this car break here, they'll have your warranty in right after it breaks. Because they don't want to have you, they don't want to fix it for free. So they're going to give you a warranty that you ain't going to never have to use. Because if you got a 16-month warranty on this part will not break until month 17. As soon as the warranty is out, that part is designed to break when the warranty is over. This is just my belief. How do they determine how long a warranty is on your brakes, on your steering, on this and that? It's based off of them knowing when it's going to break. And they want to make sure when it breaks, you got to pay for it. They not going to pay for it. So the warranty is a trick. I had a vehicle, brand new. Anybody buying new vehicles will tell you. And you be in the shop before that warranty go out because they ain't got it all the way down. But if you go to any shop, you're going to see the brand new cars in there with you. Go. You think I'm lying? Go. I don't care if you got a Benz. I don't care if you got a Ford truck, Chevy, Range Rover, whatever. When something happened to it, before your warranty's up and you go to the shop, it's going to be packed. That's why us car owners, what do? We get there as soon as they open. If I got to go to the dealer, because they had the mechanic at the dealer, that's the one you want to go to. If they open at 8, you want to be there at 8 so you can get in and get out. And when you get there at 8, it might be 2 people in front of you. You go park your car, and they honor your warranty and fix it. But you can tell that that's really not supposed to happen a lot. They want to make sure. And a lot of times, if your warranty is for like 18 months, sometime it'll break at like 16 months and they'll have to fix it. But you could tell they wanted it to make it to 19 or 20 months. You could tell. He said, I think the industry term is called planned obsolescence. I don't know how to pronounce that. Intentional design of product to fail shortly after its warranty expired. That is exactly what they do. And you could tell when when you take your car to the dealer, you could tell. He said, bro, I was a GM of the company in Texas. I had two employees that were using the same ID, running back and forth, working and coming across the border. See? You could tell because when your car starts going bad, it's either right after the warranty or a little bit before it expired. You could tell. And that's why they stopped using all that metal on the car. I had a big ass truck, and people was going to put them big grill things on the truck. One truck I had, everybody was getting those trucks that was putting this big metal thing on the front to make it look like if you hit the truck, you're gonna hit this metal rail. People was putting them on Fords, Tahoes, and stuff like that. It was putting this big. Y'all remember back in what was that? The 90s, the mid 90s, towards the late 90s, where dudes was buying them trucks and putting those big metal, like grill like things, like they was grill like bars in the front. And then dudes was having accident with that. And the bars were collapsing and the whole front of the trucks collapsing because what you was connecting it to wasn't strong. So it looks strong, but it's connected. It's not connected to strong. And brothers was having accident and the whole bar and the whole front of the truck was still tearing up. And the front of the trucks was all plastic. Facts. That's why a lot of us was buying old school cars when we found out the old school cars were really made out of metal. Because when you got to the 90s, that wasn't metal. If you had a 1990 car and you had an accident with a 60 or 70 Chevy, your car gonna be towed up and it ain't gonna be nothing wrong with the Chevy. Ask somebody. Ask somebody. If you had a 60 Chevy, even 70 Chevy or Buick or Cadillac, and you had an accident with a 90 car, that 90 car gonna be crushed. It ain't gonna be nothing wrong with the 60 or 70 vehicle. Because in the 60s and 70s, it was still metal. I live in a big city, so you drive by and see dude whole front end balanced up and the back end of the car hit, ain't nothing wrong with it. Not even a scratch. Not a scratch. The car in the back toe up. Anybody will tell you that. That's what made a lot of us buy old school cars. We like, you know what? Let me give me an old school Buick, LeSabre. Let me give me an old school electric 225. Let me give me a Caddy. Let me give me a Chevy. Let me give me an Oldsmobile. Let me get this. Let me get some metal. Let me get the older Mustang. Y'all can keep this new one. Let me get the one got the metal bumper, the metal chrome looking bumper. Let me get that. It wasn't because we didn't have the money. Them cars was junk. The 70s too. Cars didn't start getting messed up till the 80s. In the 70s, them cars was still the same. Them cars was metal. They didn't start cheating till the 80s. Hit a 1972 electric 225, a Buick LeSabre. I bet your car be tore up. I bet don't none be. I'm telling you, them cars was still metal all the way till you get to the 80s. Some of them in the 80s was still metal. They didn't really start changing them until the 90s. The 90s is when they really did that. Up to the 80s, they were still keeping them pretty much metal. They didn't start pushing all that fiberglass and stuff strong until the 90s. Now, they wasn't as strong as the cars in the 50s and 60s, but they was still, a car in the 70s was still way stronger than a car in the 90s, 2000, and now. Yeah, it's all plastic. I had a big ass truck and I touched it and it was all plastic. I said, this is plastic. I had a big ass truck, looked strong. And one day I was going to get the grill put on there. I touched it. I'm like, oh, it don't make no sense to put this on this. This is plastic. They had some shiny plastic that looked like chrome. It was shiny, it looked like metal. It was plastic. The whole front of the car was plastic. The whole front of the car was plastic. All that silver wrapping around, all that was plastic. They call it fiberglass. It's plastic. You know what I'm saying? They call it fiberglass, but it feel like plastic. If you, I said, what the heck? I said, what the what? I paid y'all all this money. I gave them $8,000 down on the vehicle one time, and I still owed the same payment as the vehicle. Let's say the vehicle like 32,000. I give you 8,000. I still owe 32,000. I swear to God. I said, what? What? Vehicle 32,000. I give you 8,000 down payment. Remaining bill 32,000. I said, what? Huh? This supposed to be 24 or something. How I still owe you the same price as the vehicle? Where's the 8 grand? Well, and you know when you drive it, if you get a new car, as soon as it leave the dealership and touch outside, the value drop by like 8,000, 10,000 immediately. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it loses 10,000 straight off the top, right away. It loses 10,000 right away. Soon as it touched the street, bop. As soon as it touched the street, it ain't worth nothing. The modern Cybertruck has plastic and glue holding some parts together. Modern vehicles are not as durable as the older ones with regular combustion. I know. You can't fix them. You can't redo them. They changed them where you couldn't put your own radio in it because they gave it all kind of sensors, so you couldn't change the sound system, all that. All of that. So road construction, right? The next thing, common lifestyle and everyday complaints. Economic opportunity. Many believe it is hard for the middle class to get ahead compared to previous generation. It's absolutely way harder for the middle class to get ahead because there is no middle class. There's no such thing as a middle class. Doesn't exist. In the days you had middle class, you could go to a factory or go to business, go to the personnel office, fill out a paper and get a job. Now you got to go online and you can't even get the job by where you live at because it's online. So you could live on 115 and they got a company on 117, but when you apply for a job, they send you to 25th. My daughter was looking for a job when she got out of high school. She wanted a job to work until she get ready to go away to college. She was online looking for jobs. She didn't get no response. So one day we went to Jules Food Store up on 119th Street, really 115th Street, but over just some blocks by the freeway. You could walk, it's a long walk from Aberdeen to there. So me and my daughter, I go to this Jules a lot of times at night, right before they close, because we're busy and get on, oh, we need this tomorrow, this, that. So I'd run to the Jules. So we go to the Jules. So when I get in the Jules, me and my wife is at the counter, I notice that a lot of the workers that's usually there, they're not there. And there's a manager there. So the manager is frustrated because nobody came to work. I think some people quit. The manager. I walked to the manager and I said, my daughter looking for a job. She'll come in here and start working. Now, there used to be a time my daughter could have went to the manager and said, she'll come and work. They would have gave her a piece of paper, said, fill this out. You can fill it out here now and leave it, or you can fill it, bring it out tomorrow. The manager told my daughter, cool, we do need somebody. Go online and apply. When my daughter gets home and go online, she can't find that store. She can't. Now, they need somebody to work now, tomorrow. She can't fill out an application for the job and come in the next day. She got to go online for a store that's in her neighborhood that we go to every time we go shopping. Do that make any damn sense? So how you going to have a middle class when you got no class? No, they didn't hire her because there was no way for her to apply there. She had to go online. She ended up working for the hot dog place that I had to drive her way out there and pick her up every day. Y'all know who's the hot dog company in Chicago? She ended up working for them. They needed help right then. People ain't coming that been coming. They must have quit or whatever. She ready to work tomorrow. She had to go online. She ended up working for Portillo's? Yeah, she ended up working for Portillo's. I got to drive all the way to 147th Street. We on 116th. The job right there on 109th, 115th too, basically. Right down the street, 150. We live on 116th. The job is right at 116th. You just go to 115th, drive down the job right there. No. She had to go and get a job at Portillo's. Now I got to take her to work all the way 147th to River Oaks. I mean, not River Oaks, the other one that's over west. I had to take her there. I got to take her to Portillo's. When there was a job right up the street. I got to drive far. There was a job up the street. She out of college. Out of high school. I could have went and bought her a little runaround, and she could have drove to work and back herself. Hell, if she would have got that job, I could have went and bought a little used car from one of the neighbors. Make that make some sense. So, economic opportunity Many believe it's harder for the middle class to get ahead compared to previous generations. That's because there is no middle class. There's no middle class payment. There's no yearly raise. There's no long term middle class jobs. There is no middle class. It's two classes. Well, it's three classes. It's the struggling class. It's the hustling class that's up there trying to get to the bag, and it's the rich. And the hustling class go from the struggling class to the hustling class, basically. Because even a nurse is the hustling class. Seriously. Because you're a nurse and you work at a senior citizens home, and they'll just close it. Oh, we closing. We didn't have too many diseases and too many people butt wasn't wiped correctly, and we didn't have too many unprofessional CNAs in here. And CNAs is bootleg, didn't graduate, whatever. They go right quick and be a CNA looking for a quick way to make some money, but they're not really medical professionals. It's just some young person trying to make a buck. Not all CNAs, but I would say at least 70% of them is, hey, I wouldn't want them to touch me because they're not really medical professionals. This is somebody looking for a job. And so when you start talking about medical, you don't need nobody just looking for a job. You need somebody that's really medical. That's not like a job. That's not like cutting grass. You know what I'm saying? A CNA is not like cutting grass. You just can't go be no CNA and handling somebody's grandma and got to clean up somebody's grandma and all that. That's something you got to have a heart. You got to really, that's a job you handling people. You can't just get that job just for a job. You can't get that kind of job and it's not just a job. You handling somebody's granddaddy, somebody's grandmama, or somebody that been shot. Here in Chicago, the nursing homes got more young men in the nursing homes now. It's a lot of teenagers. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know across America, there's a lot of teenagers and 20-year-olds and 30-year-old men in the nursing home now? Did y'all know that? Now I'm not promoting violence, but I'm gonna give you game. If I'm in the streets, anybody that's really in the streets will tell you this. And me and you get into it, and you up a weapon and I up a weapon, and we shooting at each other. I got to back out. Did y'all know that? Do you know in the streets? That's how you know I really be outside. Do you know that you're taught not to turn around and run and flee? You know why? Because you cannot get shot in the back. Because if you get shot in the back, 75% of the time, you're going to be paralyzed. You cannot let a bullet hit your spine. Or a lot of times you'll never walk again. So you got to back out this way. You can't turn around. You got to hit me this way. I got a chance if you hit me in the front. But you don't want to get hit in the spine. Did y'all know that? So you can go to these nurses, so you're going to see these young brothers in these wheelchairs. I'm telling you. Another thing, man, if you knew how many young Black, Hispanic, and Black men are in nursing homes, you would not believe it. I had a queen that was a nurse. She worked in a nursing home. So one day I went to pick her up from work, and I see this young brother in a wheelchair. I'm like, what the hell is he doing here? She said, he got shot in the back. She said, we got a lot of them. I said, what? She said, we got a lot of them. I said, wait a minute, because she worked in a lot of different nursing homes. That's another thing. I could talk about that. Women that work in nursing homes, they got to keep going to different ones. But she said, yeah, there's a lot of them in there. I said, you kidding. She said, yeah, they don't roll outside of nothing. They going through so much emotional stuff. They just stay there. They just stay in their room a lot of times. Sometimes they don't even come out the room because they 19, 20, 25, and they can't walk. And she said they be going through like real depression. Hey, April. Yeah, there's a lot of gang members and young men that are in nursing homes because they've been hit in the spine with a bullet. They can't walk. And so you got to have training on the side, whatever you do, even if you're a gangster and you're in the streets, you got to train. You can't just be no gangster. No, it's gangster courses you got to take. You got to back out, pop, 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 like this. You can't turn around. You can't catch one in the back under no circumstances. You better learn how to run backwards. You cannot turn around. Turn around, your possibility of never walking again is a good 75 to 85% chance you ain't never walking again. Once that bullet lodged in your spine, it's a wrap. That's on the side note. Right? Technology and lifestyle. Companies regarding excessive social media use. Complaints. This is written so little. Complaints regarding excessive social media use, lack of human interaction, and social isolation. So another thing that people are going through that Americans are complaining about is Americans don't have any more interaction too much no more. Everything is on social media. There's not it's a lot of social isolation nowadays. There's not a lot of human interaction. There's not a lot of block club parties. There's not a lot of outdoor events. And for the Black community, we don't have an age restriction. So the young men, they come and they ruin all of our events. They have no social skills. They're totally unsocialized. They're not. They have no social abilities. Everything is a beef. Everything is a problem. I get so many Black men that's younger than me. They come over here. Everything is a beef. They don't know me from a can of paint. And they come on my YouTube and they just don't like me. They just want to beef right off the top. And people like that, they ruin everything for everybody. They have no social. Here in Chicago, we have events where a lot of events we have, you got to be 40 and up to get in. You can't get in if you're under 40. Sometimes it'll be 35. But we have events here, you can't get in. You can't, like, if I go to a certain event or something, you can't get in. Because everybody in there that's 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, they don't want you. We don't want you there. You cannot get in. That's facts in Chicago. We got age restrictions. You can't, if you're young, you can't get in. And a lot of older males in Chicago, like me, like I'm 68, we ain't really dating you. We're not really dating you like that. You got to at least be 55. We don't even want to date you at 40, 50. Too much drama. We too old for that. I'm too old for drama. hmm You can be fine and all that, but when I see you, I have to meet you though, because you might have came from a different kind of family. You might be chilled out, but a lot of times you're gonna be stressed. You understand? And when you get older, stress will put you in the grave. So if I got a woman that is always this, that, she doing too much, nah, she gonna put you in the grave. Too much. It's always something. Every time you look up, it's something wrong. Something is. It's always an argument. It's something, even when it ain't nothing. When it ain't nothing, it's something. Talk too much. Bring up too much negative stuff. Somebody always did something to them. Every phone call, they don't like this one. They don't like their cousin. They don't get along with their mama. They don't get. They don't. But when you take them out and have a good time, it look phony. You know what I'm saying? You ever been with a person that when they smile, it look like it hurt them? It look like they trying to smile, they trying to be happy, but they not. That kind of thing. So there's no whole bunch of human interaction like that. You know, as a man, especially as a black man, you can't really be around a bunch of dudes because the black man coming up now, the way he came up and the way society is, he's he's everything is competitive. Everything is competitive. Everything is size you up, stuff like that. The conversation is personal, looking for opportunity to say something slick, want to argue, want to debate, never been around a woman before. You can't trust them around your wife. You can't trust them around your woman. None. They got like no. And then a lot of black men, they ain't got no woman. They can't keep no woman. So if you got a woman, you around a bunch of dudes that can't keep no woman. So now he ain't gonna know how to deal with you and your woman because he ain't got one. In this period now, and I can't speak for whites because I don't be around a whole bunch of whites. I only be around a couple of them here and there. But I can tell everything about blacks. And with the black man now, he don't got no woman. He can't keep no woman to save his life. And he jumped from woman to woman to woman. Seriously. If he even got one. And they don't have no respect for the other brother's woman. Every woman, they think they supposed to try to talk to him. Yeah. Yeah. Competitively volatile. Yeah. Like me, I can go around Goshen. We ain't gonna have no problems because I ain't finna be all crazy saying the wrong stuff. I ain't doing all that. I don't do all that. I know people be like, well, why you be getting so? Because I'm not used to that. I'm used to grown men. I ain't never seen my daddies and them uncles do this stuff. I wasn't raised around that. I'm not used to habitual line crosses. But now you got habitual line crosses. I used to see men, they knew how to have conversations. They knew how to sit around each other. They could sit around each other 2 or 3 hours. And all they do is get loud and have discussions and laugh. And they would get loud and emotional, but not like mean emotional, like really trying, no, and then I went down there. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I went down there. I'm used to that. And the other ones would laugh. They would laugh. It was all fun. Oh man, that didn't happen. I'm trying to tell you, yes, it did. Boy, he too much. He lying. No, I ain't. And they gonna go on, they don't be fighting all that. I used to watch my daddies and my uncles go back and forth, back and forth. They thought it was fun. Arguing to them was the most fun ever. It made them happy. They didn't really get arguing with them. They made they was happy. Yeah, they thought that was the most fun you could ever have in your life. It's arguing with your brother or with the other black men. Oh, they love that. But nobody got mad or nobody called nobody no names and all. They didn't do that. They didn't do the name call. They ain't saying nothing. Man, you crazy, man. Man, that didn't happen, man. Man, get out of here. That's all the time. So they wouldn't call you no B word and this kind of stuff. When they started to get like that, my daddy stopped going to events. I remember one time my mother went somewhere. I said, Dad, you ain't going? He's like, no, son, some of these men, I don't like being around them because they go too far. It started changing when I was around 17, 18, 19. I remember one time my mother went somewhere, my daddy didn't want to go. I said, Daddy, why you didn't? Because he usually would go with her. He said, nah, I don't like to be around some of these men. He said, they go too far, son. You know what I'm saying? I knew what he meant. I knew my daddy didn't have the temperament to play with you like that. My daddy from Alabama, Decatur, Alabama, and he not finna throw his life away because you can't play with them like my granddaddy and them down there. No, that's gonna go wrong. You can't do all that. So rather than put himself in that situation, he stopped going. So we don't have nowhere to express ourselves. So that's one of the complaints with Americans nowadays. Too much social media and left less a lack of human interaction and there's too much social isolation because Americans are growing up not knowing how to act. White ones too. Every time you go, you see somebody ruining an event, ruining a picnic, ruining a festival. Every time you look up. They always talking about Karen. Whites used to didn't have no Karens. There was no such thing as no Karen. There was no white woman just starting stuff. That's all new. There was no Karens. There was no such thing as a Karen. Ever. Any white person to tell you there was no such thing as a Karen. What the hell is that? There was nobody would come to events and just act a fool and start stuff and just nobody used to do that. Even in the times of racism, people in America had manners. They had manners. Period. They might not like your race or care for you too much, but they ain't gonna say nothing to you. They gonna go about their way, you gonna go about yours. And nobody would say nothing to you. We went to Alabama every year. No white person called us no N-words or nothing like that. People had class. That's only going to happen if you get around some drunk somewhere. But the typical person in the United States had class. That whites, blacks, all of them, they had class. There wasn't a lot of white people that was all super racist, nobody was doing all that. Unless it's some kind of protest or something like that. So people are complaining. Americans are complaining they don't have enough social activity. Now, consumer complaints. Data on consumer issues frequently highlights auto sales. See what I told you? And repairs, along with issues regarding internet service and scams. So Americans are not at all happy with their automobiles, the sales, how that work. They not happy with any kind of repairs. Repairs nowadays is ridiculous. Seriously. They can't fix nothing right. And they send you through, you can't get nothing hardly repaired once you buy it from these people. And internet service and scams is all over the place. All over the place. Internet service, man, you know how many times I got to call these internet people? Every time I'm looking up something, the internet service. The internet service is the internet service that. And I have to call them. I make them refund my money though. I say, listen, my internet service out yesterday for 3 hours. I lost $400. They take money off my account. I make them pay. Partisan difference in concerns. Republicans focus heavily on illegal immigrants and inflation. Democrats focus more on money and politics, healthcare affordability, and climate. That is a lie. The Republicans do heavily focus on immigration. I don't know nothing about the Republicans focusing on no inflation. And the Democrats do not focus on no money and no healthcare affordability and climate. The Democrats focus on LGBTQ and helping immigrants. This is a lie. The Democratic Party put all their energy on bringing illegal people into the country and LGBTQ trying to get the same rights as somebody black and stuff, try to make them like a minority when don't nobody know you gay. I do not know nothing about the Democrats focusing on no money. Do y'all? I ain't never heard that one before. And I don't know nothing about the Republicans focusing on no inflation. That's a lie too. The Republicans they into making money, but they into charging you a hell of a lot too. Because how could you be into making money if you ain't into overcharging people? So the Republicans are into making money, but one of the ways they into making money is overcharging you. And the Democrats ain't no focus on no damn money. The Democrats is focusing on special interest groups all the time before they take care of the basic Americans. The Democrats have just fallen into the trash. The Democrats has no focus on Americans that been Americans and want to put a lot of focus on people becoming Americans. That's why right now, even though the Republicans be doing some weirdo stuff, more people like the Republicans than the Democrats. The Democrats have sold out Americans. Republicans state that lack of affordability as a whole started by the Democrats. They lying though. You right, but they lying. But they lying. But I have to think about that. He says that affordability as a whole started by the Democrats. I would say affordability is something that's real, that both parties are responsible for, and the Democrats are the ones that mention it. So if the Republicans are saying that affordability is something that the Democrats talk about the most, I would agree to that. But affordability is real and is based on the lack of the Republicans and Democrats working together to make life better for Americans. So affordability is a problem, but it's a problem because the two parties both suck. Because if you don't work together, you suck. Period. The Democrats and the Republicans are no good if they don't work together. And they're both to blame. Because there's no way this country can work with those parties not working together. The president campaigned on bringing prices down because his support base voiced their concerns about rising prices for groceries, rent, and etc. Right. But he did not fulfill that campaign because right now gas is $5, $6 a gallon. So he said that, right? But the problem with that is, how can he bring prices down if him and the Democrats don't work together? The reality is they can't do nothing. That's the reality is, if they don't work together, they cannot do nothing. That's my problem with them. Everything they say they want to do, they cannot do it if they do not work together. And I could go to Washington, D.C. and shut Washington, D.C. down, and on national TV in front of all of them, I could shut them down, and everybody would say I'm right. Because with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, the main thing wrong with both parties, drum roll, is they don't have any moderates. That's what they don't have anymore. And Trump would be shut down, and everybody would be shut down, because that's the absolute what's wrong with the country. Absolutely. What is wrong with the United States is they don't have any moderates. A moderate is an individual or political position that avoids extremes, favoring a centrist, pragmatic approach over rigid ideologies. They typically blend liberal and conservative views, emphasizing compromise, bipartisanship, and stability. Moderates often hold the balance of power in election, acting as a check on polarization. And that's what's wrong with this country. There are no moderates. This country ran based on moderates. Moderates were the Republicans and Democrats that would figure it out. Now you got extremes. That's all. You got extremist Democrats and extremist Republicans. Moderates try to make sure the American people get what they want. Moderates realize that Kentucky needs something different than New York. New York needs something different than LA. LA needs something different than Texas. We realize that every state and region has specific needs, and we just can't pass these blank things. We are supposed to be, if you got all of these governors and senators, you represent the whole country, different places, and you're there to make sure whatever the country do, it's going to work out for Texas. Whatever the country do, it's going to work out for New York. It's going to work out for Illinois. It's going to work. That's their job, to try to find a middle ground. No. Now, all they push is extreme ideologies, both of them. They're horrible. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party has failed the American people totally. They failed them. That's why hundreds of millions of people don't vote. Out of the 380 million Americans, there's like 150 million that don't even vote. Probably more than that. Because all he's doing is pushing extremist ideas. You want to go from not discriminating against somebody gay to letting a man turn into a girl and go to the girls' bathroom and swim against the girls with a steal a man's body. That's the Democrats. And the Republicans on some lunacy too. Some straight pushing over the top racist concepts and all this, and let the man get in there and overlook blacks in the military. Let headsets get in there and just disrespect black soldiers. Make all kind of rules so black soldiers can't be in the military. Try to push obvious. Hegseth obviously got the mentality of the 1950s and 40s. He's an old school racist. Duh, everybody knows it. Y'all let that man come and send the country all the way back to the 50s. You can see he's a nut. Pete Hegseth, you can see he's got certain racist beliefs. You can see it. And see, that's what I'm saying. The Republicans ain't in la-la land. The government is in la-la land. That's my issue, Leon. I disagree with that. That's the problem. When you say the Republicans are in la-la land. And where the hell are the Democrats? So that makes it look like the Democrats are right. You helping. I'm glad you put that down there because you're showing what I'm saying. How are the Republicans in la-la land? How? How? How are the Republicans in la-la land? See? That's what I'm saying. But when you say the Republicans in la-la land, that's part of the problem. Because the Democrats believe that this guy can swim against them because he had a sex change. That ain't la-la land? That ain't la-la land. That a dude can go, that he got the right. He's got the right to change his sex. But based on his size when he was a man, how in the hell can you say he can swim against these women? And how in the hell could you say that a man that gets a sex change because he feels like a woman, how do you know which one is doing that for real and which one is a predator trying to get in the women's bathroom to do things to women? How do you know which one is which? How do you know who really has feelings and emotions that they're really a female, want to get a sex change from somebody that's really got mental criminal mind state and feel like if I could turn myself to a woman, I could do all this stuff and get away with it? How do you know which one is which? And how could you let somebody used to be a man go to the bathroom with a woman and 100% know that the women are safe? That's la-la land. And that's the problem. You know why you could do that? Because you ain't got no moderates. No moderates. No moderates will do that. How Do you say you live in the richest nation in the world and you got trans women? You got men that turned into women. How are you the richest nation in the world and you can't build trans bathrooms? This is the bathroom for the trans. Problem solved. And if you're a trans and you don't want to go to the trans bathroom, how could you say you don't want to be discriminated against, but you don't want to go to your own bathroom? We'll build you a bathroom. Because you're not a woman. How could you say you're a woman and be a trans woman? A woman is just a woman. You're a trans woman. A woman is born a woman. You were not born a woman. So in science, at a school where we're teaching intelligence, if you weren't born a boy and you turned into a boy, you deserve respect for turning into a boy, but you turned into a male. You were not born a male, no matter what you say. And there has to be a definition for you if you turned into something. If you turned into something, you are never going to be the one that didn't turn into it. Educationally, you are different, period. You turned into something. You cannot be categorized as what you turned into, because what you turned, people that didn't turn into that. So that's not discrimination. And then discrimination is for you to be a man and get a sex change as a woman and then make me think you was born a woman and have me date you and marry you and I find out you was a boy. How you want to talk about righteousness and fairness when you won't let me know who you are? If you're going to be my wife, you're supposed to tell me everything about you. So how would you marry me? How would you kiss on me? But you haven't told me everything about you. So just in terms of marriage and relationships, if you keep that a secret, that's foul right there. That's foul right there that you got a mate and your mate don't know your life story. That's foul. You're not qualified to marry nobody and they don't know you. I need to make that decision. How you going to take away my right to make a decision? And you can't say, oh, once you tell me that I want to be with you, it's discrimination. So if I meet a girl on the phone and I meet her and she's a little overweight and I don't want to date her, that's discrimination? No, that's my decision. She's not my type. That's simple. But I can't say nobody should be with her. Somebody will be with her. But you can't say, I got to be with her regardless that she's overweight. No, I don't. I make that decision. You can't say I got to be with her and she used to be a male. Come on. And so you all in the government dealing with that. But the schools is dilapidated. The hospitals is falling down. The fire departments is falling down. The economics not doing good. And you talk about somebody being a trans. When you ain't even providing enough job for citizens. You ain't doing the basic for citizens. And that's the problem with the Democrats. They talking about a bunch of weirdo stuff don't make no sense. And the Republicans talk about some weirdo stuff don't make no sense. Neither one of them are talking about the basic thing, food, clothing, shelter. At the end of the day, you have to have jobs because a trans got to have a job. And I'll go to Washington and tell them, you arguing about who's a trans when you can't even hire all the trans. Don't worry about who's a trans. Where's the jobs? What's the cost of living? So do a trans woman When they go and bread's too high, do they get cheaper bread? No. If this war drives gas up to $9 a gallon, will trans get cheaper gas? All right, well, let's focus on that type of stuff. Your sex is not political, period. I don't agree with no political sex, period. Sex is not political, period. The only way sex could be political if you violate somebody's right, like a hate crime against trans, or you are trans and you had me sleep with you and you didn't tell me, you should go to prison. That should be illegal. You raped me if you didn't tell me what you was. To me. You didn't give me, if I don't give a woman the opportunity to say no when we have sex, how a trans don't give me opportunity to say no? I'm supposed to have the opportunity to say no. Period. You don't have a right to keep that away from me, especially if we're going to be intimate. You don't got that right. And you don't got the right to compete with, if that's what you are and you're proud of that, then have trans sports, trans women sports, and trans men sports. But you can't take nobody with the body of a man and then do some little surgeries and then put them out there to compete with no women and take away these women's right to win as women when they really are swimming against a physical male. Because at the end of the day, that's a physical male. That the sex change didn't change his height, his strength, or none of that. That sex change did look at him. Look at him. And look at them. So that was a sex change. That wasn't a person change, unless I'm wrong. Trans get sex changes, but you're more than sex. You don't get a muscle change. You didn't get a height change. You didn't get a strength change. You just got a sexual organ change. You didn't change your whole body. I'm just saying. Take me to the trans. I'll debate it. You didn't get a bone structure change. You just got a change on how you having sex. So if I go get my penis taken off, I'm not a man no more. Make some sense. So how you get to compete against them? And anybody can look at this and see this is not even fair. Because even in boxing, if they was both men, we got weight classes. This is wiping out weight classes. So now you got to have weight classes in swimming, height classes in swimming, because you ain't going to be able to let no big old person like this get out there and outswim them girls like that. They cheated them girls out of all their hard work. And we have people that will do that just to do that. We have people that will do that just to go win them awards, just to get some publicity. We got all kind of minds out here. This was a disgrace. Them girls worked their whole life as females swimming and competing for somebody that's a man to go get just a sexual organ change and still be able to now say you're a man only because you only change one part of your body. I win that in any Supreme Court. Can you change one part of your body and be something different? No. So can I go and get my arm pigments taken to white, and can I be a white man? No. I can't change my skin color and be no white man. I'm still going to be a black man. How the hell am I going to be a white man? How am I going to be a European if I ain't from Europe just because I changed my color? I'm a European? How? Michael Jackson tried that, and he was still an N-word. He tried, but nobody honored him as a European. My point is, the government wasting time on stuff like that instead of making sure that rent is $500 a month. Because anytime rent is $2,500 a month, $2,000 a month, that's a scam. The most a 2-bedroom apartment should be anywhere in this country is $750. A 1-bedroom apartment should be something like $600, $650. In a place with less economics, $500. Anywhere where you paying more than $750 for a 2-bedroom apartment, that should be illegal. There is no bed and rooms and a stove worth no thousands of dollars just to cook and sleep and watch TV. Ain't no way. That's a scam. That's a scam. And they say you want rent control. No, you don't need rent control. Bring all them prices down. You ain't got to control it. You're overcharging them for property taxes. You're overcharging for how much the building costs. You overselling all this property. You selling it for more than it's worth. This property is not nowhere worth what they selling them. And it ain't your property. The property belongs to whoever made the earth. So I don't know how you get no property and say it's yours and overcharge people and make people work to pay you on the earth when the earth is the Lord's and the fullness is of. You do not own the earth. I don't care what you say. Now, you could be on it. You can claim a section on it, but you can't act like you can charge other people that's born on this planet just like you was born on this planet. I was born on the planet. You was born on the planet. Somebody say you're a president and governor, so now you think you better than me. No, you're not. You're supposed to work for me. Bring down these rent prices and the world will be a much better place. People won't have to do all this crazy stuff. Companies will stay in business because companies wouldn't have to pay you so much. So profits would be better. Companies got to pay us too much. How they going to stay in business? If my rent $2,500, who can afford to pay me to pay my rent, my car note, my insurance, and all that? How much the company got to make to pay me? So that makes it impossible for the company to pay me. Am I right? If we overcharging the people, the companies ain't going to be able to afford to pay them. Now the companies got to charge too much for their products because they got to pay us so much because our cost of living is too high. The cost of living is ridiculous. And then when you look where the money go, this dude got $250 billion. He got all that money because we all getting robbed. That's why Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and them got all that money, because they are robbing the people. They call it inflation, but it's robbery. It's robbery. You should not be able to overcharge the common people, and then you got billions and billions of dollars. You got that money because you stealing from the people. That's why they call it filthy. You're filthy rich because you're a greedy pig. And you're ruining the whole economy of the world. That's why they war. That's why you're going to war. Then when you go to war with the other trillionaires, you want the same poor people that you cheating to go be the soldiers and fight. You want somebody whose rent is all this money to go fight for you on a planet that ain't yours. Make that make some sense. And the way they keep Americans from getting on the government case is have you Democrat against Republican, Republican against Democrat, black against white, white against black, Hispanic against this against that, women against this, men against that, LGBT, straight, LGBTQ, straight. Then they do all that. All that's distractions. All that's fake. All that's fake distractions. Fake. All that's fake. All that's fake. A content creator like me, I could barely make content because people get in the chat that believe all that and bring all that stuff to me, all that brainwashing. You brainwash, so you get in my chat. Oh, it is totally brainwashed. I'm looking at you crazy. Why you in my chat? Shut up and go pay that high ass rent, that high ass car note, that high ass car insurance, and that buy that high ass food and shut up talking to me. How you know so much when you paying these high ass prices and you ain't saying nothing, but you got everything to say to me. When you take your ass in that store and they take your money, you don't say nothing. When you go pay your car note, you don't say nothing. They do you with no Vaseline and you don't say nothing. I'm just a little content creator. You got everything to say to me, but in the world, you're a punk. They run over you. Your doggone 2-bedroom apartment, almost $3,000 a month for a box. You know, when I bought a $65,000 car that ain't worth nothing but $20,000. A Mercedes Benz ain't worth nothing but 18 or 20,000. Fact, the best one is worth the most 20,000. These other cars y'all buying, these Chevys and Toyotas, that stuff ain't worth number $7,000, $8,000. That's what that's worth. That's what your car worth. That car ain't worth nothing. You'll go get them 70,000 for a Benz. As soon as you drive it, it dropped to 50 right then. Next year's 30, 20. It ain't worth nothing. It never wasn't worth nothing. It was all a scam. And so now you walk around with your chest out that you done gave them people your money. To the point where some of these rappers, they buying all this big ass gold to show somebody they got $200,000 worth of gold. And 7 out of 10 is fake. Because you want to look like you got $200,000 worth of gold on your neck. So you go buy $70 worth of gold to look like, you know what I'm saying? Facts. All fugazi. And as long as you arguing between the two politicians, Democrat, Republican, they could do you dirty. They know you're not focused. Because you're like, oh, no, Trump is the one. No, this one is the one. No, that one is the one. And when you get through doing that and you go back home, you ain't got nothing. Look at all them farmers lost all that stuff. Where all the immigrants had to run because of ICE and they lost all their crops. The government didn't have no care for them. They knew chasing them people, them farms would lose all their tomatoes, all their strawberries and all that. And they know that America's not going to know until this summer and this spring when they find out all them farms crashed. Them farms is out of business. All them strawberry growers, tomato growers, all they out of business. They just don't feel like that's the news you need to hear. They determine what news you need to hear. And right now, all you need to hear is Iran, America, Israel, Lebanon. That's all you need. Don't worry about the rest of the news. You just watch what we show you. We'll tell you the other news when we get ready. And it's white America's fault because they the most people. So if anything wrong with America, it's white Americans. If you're the majority, when you grew up in the house, I'm the oldest, and then my sister youngest. If anything going wrong in the house, who the mama blame? She blame the oldest. So white Americans is the biggest majority in this country, right? 360 some Americans, 200 and some million is white. It's only 50 million black. So if anything is wrong with the country, ain't it white people? You the majority. White Americans are the majority. So if the country's at war, if the country's prices too high, whatever's going on, white Americans is responsible. They messing up the country. They the ones running it. They got the most hands on deck. They got the most jobs. They got the most businesses. They the ones making the most money. 50 million black Americans can't make as much money as 200 some million whites. And when do white America take any responsibility for all these problems environmentally, with storms, with floods, with housing, with homelessness, with medical problems, with sicknesses, with cancer, with diabetes, with STDs? When do they take any responsibility as the dominant race that run the country? Yeah, I thought so. Never. Don't take no responsibility. I was running their mouth, but don't take no responsibility. Want to be the boss, but don't want to boss nothing. Want to be the boss, but don't run nothing. Want to be the boss, but when everything's out of line, you're not the boss no more. Oh, it's America. No, it's y'all. You the one running it. You the one running it. You're not doing a good job at running it. The only way white America can fix this country is make sure they stop blaming white Americans. Point the finger at themselves and say they got to get themselves together. It's white Americans that have to get themselves together to get the government to work correctly. As long as they divided and they going for the sucker stuff, it ain't nothing we can do. Ain't nothing we can do. This is their problem. They have to fix it. Basically, what you want us to do. The country going to collapse, and it's going to be white Americans' fault because they won't unite and fix the country. Because you can't be white one minute, but Democrat and Republican the next minute. Which one is you? Is you white or is you Democrat Republican? Is you two enemies or is you one race of people, group of people, Americans to fix the country? Make your mind up. Make your mind up. Send this, if you're white and you watch me, send it to all your friends so they be like, yeah, the brother right. I'm right. If you white Americans and you proud to be white and American, why you don't work together? How you going to be proud to be white and Americans, but you're a Democrat Republican? Make that make some sense. Is you a Democrat Republican or is you American? Because you can't be both of them. Because if you was American, you'll make the Democrat and Republican Party act right. They totally out of line. The Democrat Republican Party are worthless because they don't want to get nothing done. They two nut extremist groups that ain't doing a damn thing. And everybody know it. That's why you don't see me dogging Trump like that. Because it ain't Trump, it's both sides. It's not Trump. It's not Trump. It's white Americans. Trump is a white American male. That's what he is. And this country is ran by white American males. So white American males need to roll their sleeve up and fix the country and stop beefing and get these prices down, get this rent down, get this transportation, this gas down, and make it so the Americans get more money for what they work for. Because right now it's taxation without no representation. They're taking way too much taxes and we ain't seeing nothing back from it. I ain't seeing nothing. You're taking all these taxes. The streets is raggedy as hell. So what's wrong with the street? The bridges ain't updated. The sewer systems in every city is raggedy. They're trying to replace the sewers in Chicago now. You let all these processing companies come and take all the water. So these processing companies is creating drought all across America, using up 100 million gallons of water for data processing. So who's minding the store? How you let these people mess up all the drinking water in the country? Data processing centers. So they're not minding the store. America's like the Wizard of Oz. If you get a chance, go back and watch the old Wizard of Oz. And when you watch the old Wizard of Oz, one of the deep things about it is when they went in there was this big old thing saying, I'm Oz. I'm the Wizard of Oz. Right? At the end, when they went in there and they seen Oz, somebody noticed a little bitty curtain. And when they pulled the curtain back, it was a little bitty dude in there pushing buttons. There wasn't even no Oz. That big old thing that was running everything was all AI. And it was a little bitty punk dude that had this big thing, I am Oz. And he was little, he wasn't nobody. That's the world today. And making it look all grandioso and all that. And ain't nobody really running the store. This is the Wizard of Oz. This is the Wizard of Oz. Nobody really running nothing. This country and this country and this world is on autopilot. When the people find out that nobody's minding the store and that all of this is running on autopilot, they ain't gonna believe it. When the people really wake up and find out nobody's running nothing, they're gonna be mad. Especially in America, because America's supposed to be of the people, for the people, and by the people. Support your channel. And wake up. It don't get no realer than this. Victory.